Hi, welcome. So today I'm going to do a little bit about the goddess and the power of women. So recently, I've shared a lot about the Sibyls and the importance of the Sibyls and just kind of talked about that. Well, there's two things that I don't think I've discussed on YouTube. One is, okay, so if you're not super familiar with birth and children and gender, okay, I'm going to start with the mother first. And I have some paper, hopefully. Okay, you'll be able to see this. So I knew this, but I didn't really remember this. So females are born with all their eggs. Okay? Females are born with all the eggs they're in their ovaries that they're ever going to have. So that means, I'll use myself, for example, even though I don't have any children. Okay? So when my mom was born, she had all her eggs. So all her children were already in her womb before she was born. So that means while she was in my grandmother's womb, I was also in my grandmother's womb. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna try to draw a diagram. And so that means for every generation, right, we are living ancestors because we were inside our mother's wombs when she was a baby. Okay, our egg, or a piece of our energy, was already in our mother's womb before we were even born. So where this stops is for boys, right? But for each generation, every time a mother has a child, every egg inside of that female child was inside of the mother that gave birth to the child. So you have like triple goddess in there, okay? So I'm going to do a diagram. If this is too confusing, it's a lot, because so that even means that the boys that are born, my brothers, okay, my brothers were in my mother's womb as well before she was born. So my brothers were also inside my grandmother's womb, right? Okay, so we have grandmother. And then we have mom. And then we have daughter. Or children. Okay? And then the daughter. It'll just keep continuing. So here's the best I can draw at the moment to help. So the first circle is grandma. Kind of backwards, right? First circle is grandmother. And this would be her with mom inside, and then the children. So you have 1, 2, 3. It's like triple goddess. When a child is born, when a female is born, she has something like 2 million eggs. Then by the time she reaches puberty, she's down to about 3,000 eggs. And then by the time she is in her fertile years, up to 200 to 300 eggs will be fertile to be fertilized by the male. Now, here's something also that's very interesting. Every child, whether male or female, in the womb for the first 3 months, or it might be 2 months, between the first and third month, every baby is considered female. Okay? And it isn't until the chromosome that creates the male is actually released in the body. I almost look at it as like a veil almost that rushes through the male body the female body to then change the two Y chromosomes into an X and a Y chromosome, so that you have a boy instead of two X chromosomes for a girl. So the two X chromosomes, sorry about that, the two X chromosomes that are there, then something washes over, almost erasing the X and turning it into a Y. So you have XY for the boy. So that's also very interesting, because we see the trail through the living ancestors. While we're in the womb of our mother when we're born, we're also in the womb of our grandmother before we're born. So you have that tripleness. Then you have, as you're being created in the womb, you're female until the chromosome is actually changed into the Y chromosome from the X chromosome, right? So, wow. It's very interesting, because you can see the regenerative properties just in that description. And then we have a lot of information about genetics and the research, specifically with women, specifically women of color, to learn more about the womb and creation there. Not in a healthy way, in a very kind of subjugated way. But I'm sharing this because, first of all, it's kind of mind-blowing. And it isn't. It makes sense as to how we get the idea of triple goddess, of living ancestors, and of the power of the female. I mean, 200 eggs, and you're born with all the eggs you're ever going to have. That's pretty amazing. So the other thing that's interesting is, as we're developing, and so this goes along with what I feel like is healing of the ancestral lines. So if I have both my mother's energy and my grandmother's energy in my eggs, is it possible that part of what has happened in each bloodline, even emotionally, gets filtered down? Like there's chakra proof that this happens. So one of the things that I'd like to bring into my own self-schooling and share this with you all is the back chakras. We spend a lot of time focusing on the front chakras, or just the idea of the chakras, and we typically see them from the front. Most of our ancestral trauma and the work that needs to be done there to actually bring healing starts with the back chakras and connecting to the planet from the back, because that's where our spiritual is. This is also where our shadow comes from. And so and there's so much on YouTube, but a great book is called New Chakra Healing. Cindy something, can't remember, Cindy Hayes maybe, New Chakra Healing, and they have a couple of new editions, but it really goes into the work of the chakras, especially when it's relating to when we're being born, when we're being created, the energy of our parents. For example, I was adopted. My mother, before she decided to adopt me, was going to get an abortion. So there is an energy of fear of death, basically, within my inner energy, or that I wasn't worth anything, or, I'm putting kind of a negative connotation on it. Yet I know, after finding my biological mother, her fears and shames that she had while she was pregnant with me, and the great lengths that she went to keep me a secret. So this does actually energetically flow down to the child in the womb. And these are things that we may feel them, but not actually have a cognitive memory of it. And so through the back chakras and through this kind of work, we're able to kind of tap into that energy of our own self-knowing. And if you are in a situation where you know your parents, specifically your mother, I know if you're adopted like I was, you may not be able to get that information. We have it within us, and we can tap into it, and there are others that can help guide us through that. It's a lot. It's a lot to let yourself discover some of that in utero trauma, and do the best we can in our adult selves to bring healing to that. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to mention? Okay, so it's the 30th. This is, today is the 30th of December, so we have one day left of 2019, and we're going into 2020. Oh my gosh. I also hear an energy of like 2020 vision, where a lot of everything that happened this year will bring in some great retrospection to where we'll be able to look back at even this decade or this year or even this week in comparison to next week, and be able to have a clearer vision or a clearer intention for the year and for ourselves and for the healing. Now, to share a little bit about the class that I've made for myself. This last couple weeks, I fell at the river. So it's actually kind of a double-edged sword, because it healed super quickly. I did not break anything. Yay. At the cold river, immediate, coldness, and just paying attention. And I used some calcium bentonite and some castor oil over the actual spot that was hurt. So castor oil is anti-inflammatory. It also absorbs into your skin very well. So one of the ways that you can help yourself with castor oil, it helps with backaches, with pains like muscle aches and pains if you're not feeling well. And so what you can do is you can take a nice bath, take the castor oil. There's two ways to do it. There's the harder way, which is where you soak a shirt in it, and you get a heating pad and you put the shirt and the heating pad over yourself and your liver, and that's a great way. Personally, I do it, I'm a little lazy. So what I do is I take a nice hot shower or bath, take the castor oil and rub it under your, all over your glands. So under your throat, on your chest, under your armpits, in between your chest, all over your liver, front and back, and in between the legs, because you have lymphs in between your legs. A lot of castor oil to where it's like sticky. Then I find a t-shirt that is not something I'm going to be wearing out, and then I get a heat pack or a heating pad. Now, if you don't have a heat pad, a great way to create one is to get some rice and get like a pillowcase or even like a piece of t-shirt or a piece of material. Put the rice inside of it, add a little essential oils or one of your favorite herbs, and then sew that up. Put it in the microwave for 5 minutes and you got yourself a heat pack, and it has some weight and you can put it wherever. So you can put that out over your stomach and your liver area, and it will help with your soreness and some of that stuff. And then the castor oil, what I did mixing them together with calcium bentonite, which is a clay. So the clay will pull certain toxins out, and also clay has amazing healing properties. So I did a little salve of that, and I think that that aided in the fast healing. This time of year, most of us lack water, so do hot water, stews and soups with a lot of vegetables and water in them, especially if you are if you're a vegan or somebody who doesn't really eat a lot of meat. Beets are a great blood and muscle helper, and Epsom salts are very nice. Okay, so that's my share for the morning. May you have an excellent day, and if I don't see you before, Happy New Year.